Good Sunday morning to you. It's March 23rd, 2025, and we're going on to our second signature for our library case project. Tools and materials are the usual suspects. 8.5 by 11 paper, blue scissors, straight edge blade if you like to use a blade, copies of things that you have found, magazines, all kinds of images, and pre-made ephemera if you have it.
Right, we are back for the second signature, and I have a whole bunch of stuff on my desk that may or may not make it into this signature. And by the way, I'm doing a one take, hopefully, fingers crossed. I usually do voiceover for better quality, but not this time. So you've seen these before, the tag and the library card that are kind of floating orphans at this point. I have some ephemera I may or may not use, including a pocket that could be a flip, but I'd have to put something on the back side. Some washi tape for one of the borders. I put our little frog friend, I love this guy, into an envelope type frame. I don't know that he's going to go in this journal. For the second signature, I have a couple of things. I found this again floating around in old ephemera, and it's just a window envelope opened up. I put collaged paper on it, or a print of a collaged paper, and at some point it looks like I tried to make a template for these windows, but where that template went, I don't know. I want to use this at some point, I just don't know where. So we'll stick that over in our ephemera pile. I did use this print that I rejected for the first signature. Piece of mailer, oh sorry for bouncing the camera. Piece of mailer, mounted the print, start each day with a grateful heart, and then I used a blown up ledger page, and I haven't put anything on the back yet. So let's find some stuff to stuff. This I think is really funny. It is a sort of an educational chart from who knows when, 1817 I guess it says way on the bottom, and it's from the Library of Congress. It talks about the English language and how it works, and I confess I'm a native speaker. I still don't know how it works, but I thought it was funny because I have those library pieces. This is the second floor of the Detroit Public Library, and this is just a reprint of coffee dyed paper. And then also you're gonna see me kind of experimenting with some other techniques other than folding printed paper in half. So I have this, this is actually part of a loose leaf pack of planner type things, and I thought it might be fun to use it as a page. Now I forgot where I put it on. Okay, I thought it would be fun to use it as a page inclusion. I don't know if you call this a floating tuck or whatever, but the idea is if you were doing a project, you could open it up, draw all your stuff, and then record, you know, some of the, this is intended to be a flip out as well as a floating whatever. So you would have all your information here, over here, this flips under, maybe some rough sketches or drawings could be included here, and then you've got grid paper on the back. So that's definitely going in there. So we'll set this off to the side for a moment. This is definitely going in there. And do I have anything on the back? Yes, I have writing space on the back, although it printed upside down because I'm still getting to know my printer. These, on the other hand, I forgot to turn the camera on, but you can see I have edged these and then printed this wallpaper sample on top, and it's writing space. And I smeared the ink, so there's an opportunity to do something with a stamp or a label or what have you. So there's that one. Did I hit the fold line? Pretty much well enough to disguise it. Same thing here, only I edged it with shaded lilac. I then sprayed it very lightly with some children's markers, alcohol ink, printed. These are flower people. So this is lilac and this is pansy, two of my favorite flowers, and then my, my spray ink soaked through a little bit, but I don't care, got writing space. In fact, no, I was going to turn that one inside out, but I don't think I will. I might change my mind though. So here's these two. There's nothing really extraordinary about these two techniques, but next thing, I found these beautiful, oh, for heaven's sakes, I got an ink mark. Well, that one's not going to be used. All right, so I found these beautiful black and white prints, except for they're printed, I don't know what technique they're printed. They're photographic prints, and they have this very eerie, mysterious quality to them. And then we have our library graphic again. So that was an example on white paper. Here's an example on pre-edged or pre-sepiaed paper with vintage photo, I think this time. And then this has writing space on the inside. And so we'll fold that one up. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Yeah, pretty much. So there's that one. And then this is this print right here is the best print out of all of them, in my opinion. It's very ethereal and sort of ghostly and kind of maybe a little disturbing. I don't know. You have to see it on a computer screen for this to read. It doesn't read on plain paper the way it reads on the computer screen. So this is sort of, you might say, a tame version of it. And that's an example because it's not printed well, but let me use the back of it. Here is, and I made the mistake of not getting my paper loaded correctly. I'll still use these images at some point, but you can see they're not printed straight. And I have paper line or printer lines. But here is one. This is as close as I can get it to the way it reads on the computer screen, and you can see how ghostly and ethereal this is. I set my printer to print gray scale, and if I had set it to black and white, it would have had more contrast, and maybe this would read even better. So my proposal for this one is to use this as an overlay on plain white paper. Did I bring some plain white paper over? Probably not. I sure didn't. Not one of these signature pieces is plain white paper. Silly woman. Hold that thought. What do we have here? We have our folio. This to me looks dirty. I'm less and less inclined to edge things because it just looks dirty to me, but I did it this time for whatever reason. All right, so we have a neutral, sort of neutral cover for this. I think I want to do English language first. But I also want to do this. Yeah, so this All right, this will be first. These are held down. This whole, it's a second floor schematic for the Detroit Public Library. And I've put photo corners on there sort of as a photo. And I printed it upside down. So there's that. Then, do I want to put library? Yeah, maybe this one. Nice color one. And then projects. And then the library one. No, then the flower. Then the library. Remember in the last, in signature one, I had a couple of pages that were very heavily lavender and blue and pink, and I wanted a more gradual color transition, so I took a couple of pages out. Well, this is how I'm solving it a little bit. I have not calibrated my printer correctly, so I ended up with lavender instead of grayscale, which is fine. It solves the problem for me, so what do I care? Now, let's put this aside for a minute and fold this one. Now, I can feel it under my fingers that it is clear that this is not glued down in the center, but it's fine as long as you fold this, carefully and make sure you get both the liner sheet and this sheet folding right at the same place, then it won't pucker. So here's where we're at so far. We've got our greater knowledge through whatever. We've got this set, and we have a blank center. This could be a collage. It could be inked over. It could be printed on. So let's see how many pages we have at any rate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and times that by 4 is 28 pages. I think that's plenty for this signature. Now, I don't recall precisely what we used in the first signature, but it's okay. Now, we've got our signature together. I haven't smushed this down. And I don't know if I'm going to do any decoration in this episode or not. I don't think so, because I have I have an idea of where I'm going in this journal, how I want to do what I'm doing with it. And the decoration of the journal is totally dependent on me being successful. Because remember, this is a journal that is a nod to Madam B. And so I want to make sure I'm always sort of featuring Madam B. Let's see how it fits in the working module here. So here's the working journal that we made with a Midori cord binding, so everything can slip in and out, and we can choose to decorate, or we can choose to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch and then slip it in and work on it, or we can leave it loose. And I'm definitely leaving this loose because we have one more section to make. Let's just see how thick our journal is getting. Here's our first one. And why don't I count the pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4 is 32. So this one's actually thicker. That means we can add pages here. But if we're auditioning how thick this book is going to be, that was one of the functions of making this working journal, is to kind of you know, audition things and see now that, as you can see, I couldn't put a third signature in here unless I took some pages out of the first one and maybe one or so out of the second one, because this is going to start to gator mouth and we haven't really put anything in here. Now that's if you're doing a slim journal like this. If you're putting it in a larger cover binding, so like the one we worked on, so let's pull these out and see how it looks. Whoops. All right, we'll just leave you aside for the moment because you don't really take up that much room. So, in our final binding, we can sew this in and we'll have a lot of room before we have a gator mouth. So we're okay. We're okay. Our working journal is only meant for 1 or 2 signatures at a time. So, let's see. Do we want to do any decoration at this point? Let's put this in here and see where we're going. Now, my first question is, remembering, if you haven't seen videos before this, remembering that we are leaving the bottom margin and a side margin so that we can cut this down size-wise if we feel like we need to. So the first question for me is, do I want to put washi? No, I don't. All right. Since this is more project and learning oriented, I definitely want to keep that theme in any ephemera. So let's see, I've got, let's see, what do we have in the ephemera pile? We still have this that we can make a, let's see. Yeah, we still have this that we can make a flip pocket or a flip down. So let's, I don't know that that goes really well there though. So let's just move on. Make it better there actually. But I hate to lose this printed side. We'll wait. Now, this is where this might actually work. Because we've got writing space with this, so we can sacrifice this and make this maybe an ephemera pocket. We don't have to keep this white page.
Hi, indecisive voiceover me here. I was tired of listening to myself sound like a little girl, and the truth of the matter is, I've sped this up, and you'll see that I didn't really make a decision on anything as far as ephemera or trimming or prettifying anything in this section, except I did add one of those seed packet advertisements from last week's show in the first folio. So we're already bumping 20 minutes, and I'm just going to cut to the chase and tell you my camera died. I'm also going to tell you at this point, I don't know why it's doing that. I start with 3 fresh full batteries. This is a Canon camera. It's a precursor to full DSLR cameras, but it works great, at least for my purposes, and I can't tell you anything other than that. So before we go on to making a third signature, if we actually do that, and I think we will, I propose that on Thursday we go on an ephemera bonanza, because I have a lot of images stored on my computer or in my head where I've seen them that I want to incorporate into this journal, but I haven't made enough ephemera to accomplish that. So that's what we'll do on Thursday. Ephemera extravaganza. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it when you stop by. Thanks for your likes, comments, and shares. God bless you. And I'll see you on Thursday.